Overnight, New South Wales had 7 cases of COVID. Importantly, 4 of these were in hotel quarantine, so 3 from overseas travellers and 1 from a returning traveller from Victoria, which means New South Wales only had 3 cases of community transmission, and 1 of which we're obviously making further investigations on, which I'll ask Dr. Chant to comment on. This is again a solid result. However, we are concerned about testing numbers. It was only 8,900 people or so who got tested in the last 24 hours, and we really need the community to stay vigilant and not be complacent. As we know, after the end of next week will be school holidays, and we really want to have a very low number of community transmissions ahead of school holidays, when we know families, and rightly so, will be travelling through all parts of New South Wales during that time, so mobility will be increasing and families will be moving all across the state. And so it's really important for us to keep testing rates high to make sure that we control the spread ahead of the school holidays, when we know many communities, many families will be interacting with each other, and the risk will be lower if we go into that period with a lower number of cases. Today I'm very pleased to have Treasurer Berejiklian with me and want to thank him for finding $3 billion in our capital budget to bring forward. A few weeks ago we'd announced the Acceleration Fund for Capital Works in New South Wales, with a particular focus on medium and smaller sized projects which would generate jobs and also provide vital infrastructure to communities well across New South Wales. Today we're accounting for $2.4 billion of that $3 billion spend, and this will be dedicated to projects across the state in health, in education, in transport and in roads. So each of those important areas will have $600 million each extra in order to bring forward projects over the next 2 years, but many of those are shovel ready now. The criteria was that projects had to be either shovel ready or close to shovel ready, and the other criteria was that they would boost jobs in local communities, whether it's in the suburbs of Greater Sydney or whether it's in communities in regional and rural areas across the state. So this is a huge boost for jobs as we enter the next few months, and the Treasurer has very eloquently articulated our concerns about the December quarter and what might happen to unemployment once JobKeeper finishes in March. As a government, we're working our guts out to make sure we bring these projects forward and create those jobs vital to keep our communities and our families going throughout the state. But again, if I could just please ask everybody not to be complacent. We are doing well in relation to COVID, but we need to do extremely well for us to keep numbers low during the vital school holiday period, when we know families will be moving across all parts of the state. And we know from the data and our experience with COVID that mobility and people moving around, different communities mixing, is the highest risk to the spread of the virus.